us as we recognize some of our alumni for their accomplishments. If I haven't had a chance to meet you yet, my name is Brett Wood. I'm a 2010 graduate of Ozarks, and I now have the privilege of serving the institution as the Director of Alumni Relations, and I truly mean that it is a privilege. Before we get started, one of the things that I want to do is I want to recognize all of our past winners as well. So if you, in previous years, you've been either inducted into the Hall of Fame or you've won an alumni award, would you please stand? Thank y'all for coming this evening. We really appreciate it. To start things off tonight, we're going to start it off with the Sports Hall of Fame, and Athletic Director Jimmy Clark is going to be doing that.
Exciting day in the life of the University of Ozarks Athletics. We're honoring the best of the best. And one thing that is exciting about this, we're honoring folks that were really good when they were here in terms of being a great athlete. We're also honoring folks that were really good in their careers after they graduated from here. And we're very proud of our alumni and what they go on to do. So we're excited about that. I appreciate you being here to share in this great moment with us. We're going to have a Hall of Fame induction. We're going to go back to an every other year cycle after this one. I would encourage you, because the folks in this room know some of the people that you played with that maybe are worthy of the honor of Hall of Fame. I would appreciate it if you would go online and nominate those folks so that we can discuss them and bring them up before the committee and hopefully get some deserving people in here. It's also great to see, I've got to see a lot of faces that I've not seen in a while. Some of you guys are back on campus for the first time. I heard somebody say in about 50 years. Some of you maybe not quite so long. But that is outstanding, and it's always great to see people come back, and hopefully you see some progress since you were here last. So we're excited about that. The other thing I want to talk real briefly about is the vision of the athletic program. I'm sure you've all heard about the Climb Higher campaign. Just wanted to mention that because it is going to transform this campus, and a big part of that is athletics. And we're excited about the tennis courts. If you've not gotten a chance to see the tennis courts across from maintenance, you need to do that before you leave. They're building those. We've got the 5 of the courts poured. It's going to be outstanding. One of the best facilities in the state of Arkansas. And that's kind of the lead project. Before we do some of the other things, we put the boards up around so you can kind of look at that and see what our vision is. Down in the Student Center, we had the 3D model up, and really excited. I can tell you as athletic director, I was baseball coach for 14 years. Tennis courts are the first big project that we've done in athletics, and it is really exciting. I'm thrilled to be a part of this because it's been a long time coming, and I've seen some kids shake their heads. We're here when I first got here, and we're finally turning the corner and doing the things that we need to do. And first and foremost, we want to graduate young men and women that represent the university well, and that's always going to be our mission. But I'll tell you this, we want to win. We also want to grow enrollment through athletics. Done that. We've got 21 sports, over 320 athletes out of the 755, which again, this is the biggest enrollment that we've ever had at the university. So we're excited about that. And athletics is a big part of that. And what I would like to say is the Climb Higher campaign, we've got all kinds of opportunities. Because I had a lot of people ask me down at the gathering that wanted to get on board. If you would like to be a part of that, please speak to me, speak to President Dunsworth, speak to Brett. We'd love to talk to you about ways you can get involved, because there's a lot of ways you can get involved. One of them is naming rights for the different facilities, but I do want to say this one's not on board Coach Quall's field. It's going to stay Coach Quall's field, and that's not going to change, but there's all kinds of other naming rights. There's also ways you can get involved. Just if you've got ideas, we would take those as well. So please feel free to talk to me, talk to President Dunsworth or Brett. Would like to move on to recognize the class of 2017. So at this time, what we're going to do, we're going to bring the candidates up one at a time, and we're going to start with George Loss. George was in school here from 1950 to 54. He graduated in 54. We are honoring George because of his career after he graduated from here. He was a good athlete here, but he was a head coach at St. Anne's Academy in Fort Smith from 54 to 66, posting a 116 and 15 record. That's not too bad. He won 44 straight games at St. Anne's. He registered 7 undefeated seasons as the head football coach. I can't even imagine 7 years without a loss. That's pretty cool. He coached at Little Rock Catholic High School, coached them to a state championship in 68 and 69. He also served as the head coach at Bryant and North Little Rock. He was named the head coach of the 65 Arkansas Activities Association All-Star Football Game, and he started in every game here over 4 years for the University of the Ozarks. I guess it was C of O back then, right?
Yes.
So at this time, I'd like to bring up George Moss.
I played high school football at Hartford. And now that's not Hartman, it's Hartford, and that is South Sebastian County. And we had a very good team in 1949. We had 2 players, Ray Baysinger, had a scholarship at Tulane and University of Arkansas. And being a country boy, as I was, he did not want to go that far to college. And he told Coach Coon that if he'd give me a scholarship to be his roommate, he would come to the College of the Ozarks. And so that's when Coach Coon, he came down to my house in Hartford and said, "You have a scholarship." Now, if it wasn't for that, I'd still probably be in Hartford, working in the coal mine. Now, when I came to the College of Ray and I came to the College of the Ozarks, and at the time, there was a boys' dormitory and a girls' dormitory and McLean Hall and a cafeteria. And really, I couldn't see more than 5 buildings except for some Army huts that were built and a gymnasium that the Army had built. And we also had very good instructors and coaches. Coach Coon and Coach Ingham were the 2 football coaches. And Ray and I came to the school. We started left guard and left tackle for 4 straight years. We had the same coaches for 4 straight years. Our professors were the best. Our coaches not only coached, but they taught kinesiology and anatomy and various other courses. Also, the captains of our team in 52 was Lonnie Qualls and Ray Baysacker. And in 1954, it was me and Bill Lyons. Now, we were the first to come from Hartford. After several years, as Lonnie Qualls told me a while ago, we had 6 players starting on our football team. And in 1953, we went down, we didn't win a championship, but we had winning seasons every year. And we had coaches that also taught school. But I want to remind you that when we went to UCA, we beat them 49-0. The next week, and I think Lonnie might have scored 3 touchdowns that time. But the next week was the last game of the season. We played Arkansas Tech, and the score was 39-0. Now, can you believe that? A thing about, I missed most of all on campus in Sunken Garden. I don't know if y'all remember that, but there used to be a bridge over that. And I don't know when it was taken down because I hadn't been back in 50 years, and we got lost coming up here. After graduating, I went to St. Anne's and spent 13 years there. And I loved every minute I went to work. And I used the same principles that were taught to me by Coach Coon and Coach Ingram. Also Dr. Beach, Dr. Smith, and the various instructors we had. as I was coaching at St. Anne's, I went to the University of Arkansas, got my master's degree. And then after 39 years of coaching, with the influence of the coaches, I was able to retire in 1954. I want to thank you very much for everything that this school has done for me. But had it been for Ray Basinger, Coach Coon, and Coach Ingram, and also Lonnie Qualls and Chris Aaron, I would still be at Hartford. Thank you very much.
All right, our next inductee for tonight. Again, for career achievements, Donald Kessler. Donald was here in 1967 to 1970. He graduated in 70. He has been an athletic trainer, has over 40 years of experience at the collegiate, professional, and Olympic level in athletic training. He currently is the athletic trainer for the United States Navy SEALs. Pretty cool. He has served as the head athletic trainer at San Diego State University, Rutgers University, and Princeton University. He's a member of the Athletic Training New Jersey Hall of Fame. He's been an athletic trainer spotter for the National Football League. And when he was on campus, he was a member of the cross-country team, the track team, and the soccer teams at the University of the Ozarks. Donald's been a great supporter of Chad Floyd and Tina Moy in our athletic department. We really appreciate that. This time, Donald Kessler.
It's going to be hard to follow George, although we have some similar coaches to thank and similar people in that 50 years ago this year is when I first came to College of the Ozarks and stayed for 3 years and got my degree here. And we had some great people to get us started. And I've already talked to them earlier tonight, but the first I want to thank, since they're here, is Lonnie and Levada Falls. If it wasn't for them, again, I don't think I could have done some of the things I've done in my career. Lonnie was our soccer coach. I have one teammate here, Gary Bettner, who Gary and I did all 3 sports together, and we had a great time with Lonnie as a coach, with Jerry Wagner as a coach. Coach Wagner did track and cross country as a coach for us. And but I also had Coach Ingram as a teacher and professor. And I don't think I would have done as well as I did in graduate school at the University of Arkansas if it hadn't been for some of Coach Ingram's drive to get me to do things. Levada's recommendation to go up there and study under Dr. George Moore, who was a great professor. So those were influential people in my athletic life and academic life. And then some other names that in the academic world, I think of Dr. Basham, who got me to really start and look at things academically and make comparisons of different times of life. I remember Dr. Angel as someone who inspired me to become a great reader and looking at a lot of books to just expand my mind and enjoy reading. So all those things, those combinations, made it so that I had a desire to go out and a drive to do more. And I always tried while I was here to be the best that I could be. And when I came here as a transfer student, I wasn't a great student before I got here, or I should say, I was a good student, but I never applied myself. And when I got here, I decided I was going to be the best I could be in everything I did, whether it was academics or athletics. And tried to follow that through into grad school. I was in the military during Vietnam, and that's kind of how I got my combination of athletics and medicine, because I was a hospital corpsman. We spent many years at places like the Naval Academy, Princeton University, Rutgers University, that were great athletic institutions, but also very good academic institutions. And I can say, very easily, and again, I've been an athletic trainer now for 46 years, 38 years in college and 8 years in the military here, that the inspiration I got from my professors and teachers were things that drove me and carried me on. And having worked with, again, 38 years of coaches, I can compare those at these institutions with the people that I had here. Nobody that loved their athlete more and inspired them more than the coaches that I had here at the Ozarks. So I'm very grateful for having this board. The things that I went through are throughout my whole life were because I had the passion and love to do to help the students and to try to stay involved in athletics. My last 8 years has been kind of a payback. I would have never gone into the medical side if I hadn't been for the Navy, and I felt like I should pay it back, and I started helping and working with the Navy SEALs, and it's been a whole new world. They're athletes in another way. They're actually we call it the Tactical Athlete Program, and they're inspirational people, whether they're athletic or not. They are people who do a lot for us, and I felt that I can't do enough for them. And so we were talking before about, well, when are you going to retire? I'm 70 now, and all my classmates in most places are retiring or have retired. And at work they ask me, and not in a bad way, but they ask, when are you going to retire? And I say, well, when you're tired of listening to an old man. And so I haven't found that yet. They are young, they're inspired. I try to keep myself in shape, and a lot of times they say, you could do this kind of training. And I go, I think I could too, but I know they do a lot of stuff in the cold water, and I said, the moment I got cold though, I quit. I can tell you that. That's the reason I moved from New Jersey to California, that I'm tired of chipping ice and shoveling snow, and it's been good. But I appreciate it. I try to keep involved here. I try to keep in contact with Chad and know how hard he works, keeping the athletes going here for a long time by himself, and now with some help. And like that, a university as small as the Ozarks thinks of the student and thinks of the student athlete that they'll have a position like that and try to help that. So whatever you do to help out in the situation would be well received, and again, I thank you very much for this honor.
Our third inductee of the night played baseball here, 74 to 75, and then went away for a little while, came back from 77 to 79. He graduated in 1979, Mr. Steve Higgins. He led the conference in strikeouts in 79 with 68. He finished second in batting average at 423 in 1979. He led the Arkansas Intercollegiate Conference in strikeouts in 1978. He was also named All-Conference as a designated hitter and pitcher in 79. He finished his career as a three-time All-Conference player. Talking with Coach Qualls, said one of the best, if not the best players he's ever coached, and I actually had the pleasure of talking with his cousin a little bit before tonight. He said that he was good enough to go about wherever he wanted to go. And he, I think the three of them chose to come down here to the University of the Ozarks, which was C of O at that time. So at this time, I'd like to bring up Steve Higgins.
Well, I didn't really come up with an outline what I wanted to say and who I wanted to thank and everything, but I tell you what, it's an exceptional honor to be inducted with the people that have been up here before me, and I know the one coming behind me. I mean, it's an honor. Of course, I'm a nervous wreck. So. I'm pretty much all I talk to anymore is 11, well, there's a couple of them right there, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 13-year-olds. Still spend probably 75% of my time on a baseball field. Like Coach said, if it wasn't for my cousin Nick and another person named Butch Reese, I wouldn't even have been at this college. I actually started at junior college and already went to school one day before I got a phone call from Coach Pauls asking me if I was interested in coming down here to play baseball. So when I got that opportunity, I started thinking about, well, it might be kind of fun to go to school with the boys that I grew up, played baseball with all my life, and turned out to be one of the best experiences of my life. I did leave one time, tried to go sign, that didn't work out. They welcomed me back. Coach Holly put me on the basketball team. I ran track with Coach Wagner, played baseball for Coach Paul. And I really thank everybody at this university for doing everything they could possibly do for me when I was here. I dinner over Coach Paul's house several times. You don't have a lot of money when you're in college. And then all the Paul's family, they've always treated me like family the whole time. They'd come visit me when I left and went to live in Illinois. So I appreciate everything that the selection committee has done. I thank everyone here for being here and just being a part of this. And it's a great opportunity. Thank you.
And our final inductee of the night in the Sports Hall of Fame, Wendy Swatzel Mantooth. She was here in school 2001 to 2004. She graduated in 2005. She played soccer from 2001 to 2004. She holds nearly every offensive category, about every record we've got. Most career goals, most career points, highest career goals per game. She's the first women's soccer player to be inducted, and that's pretty awesome. We're excited about that. Holds a single season record for most goals at 21 and the most points at 46. Coach Dreyer would probably take that right now, huh?
I can't get around.
Holds the program record for most goals in a game, scored 6. Led the team in goals all 4 seasons. She was a 4-time all-conference performer. She was also named the ASC East Co-Offensive Freshman of the Year. At this time, Wendy Swatzel Mantooth.
I just want to begin saying how honored I am and to be, sorry, big breath. I'm honored to be joined with all these well-deserved inductees. I feel very lucky to be recognized with all of you this weekend. To the University of the Ozarks and the selection committee, I'm truly humbled and honored that you chose me for this Hall of Fame. I want to acknowledge all the people who have had an impact on my soccer career and in my life in general. Let's start with my parents. I don't want to cry. I would not be here. I would not be where I am today without their unconditional love, support, and encouragement. I don't recall a game or a tournament where they were not in the stands cheering me on. And I want you to know how much that means to me. Mom, I love you. Dad, I miss you every single day. Whew. I would like to thank my husband, my grandma, my in-laws, and my friends for attending tonight. It really means a lot to have you here, and I love you very much. Okay. I was fortunate to play alongside so many wonderful teammates, many of who have become some of my closest friends. I truly believe good players are only as good as the teammates that surround them. And getting this forward tonight is a testament to all of you in this group. To Chad Floyd for taking care of all my aches and pains for 4 years. I definitely took advantage of the training room, so thank you. For Lonnie Falls for coming to every single soccer game, not sitting in the stands, he sat in this folding chair by the goal. So I can always see it, he's always there. Finally, I want to thank all the incredible coaches I've had along the way. lucky to be able to play for a coach at the University of Ozarks that saw something in me that no other coach saw. He challenged me because he believed in me. So thank you, Jeremy Bernard, for always pushing me, instilling the importance of hard work, and for coaching me to become an offensive player. I came into college as a defensive player, so I switched positions, so he definitely saw that I could score goals. I cherish the time I spent here at the University of Ozarks, and I always remember this special evening. Thank you again for this wonderful honor.
Some logistics. At the end of the ceremony, we're going to take pictures in here after the completion. After we do that, we will go over to the gym lobby and we will unveil the plaques. So we've got a plaque up on the board to go with all the other Hall of Fame members in the gym lobby, but that will be after all the pictures here, so we'll let you know when that takes place. Now, to finish up my night, what I'd like to do right now is I'd like for our 4 new inductees to stand up. Let's give them another big hand.
The next thing that we're going to do this evening is we're going to recognize our alumni award winners. I'm going to touch on something Jimmy said earlier as well. All of our alumni award winners are nominated and voted on by our alumni. The alumni office helps them if they have any questions on things they're doing and stuff, that they're nominated and voted on by our alumni. So anyone that you went to school with, anyone that you know that you think is deserving of one of our awards, please submit those nominations. Email me, call me. I don't care if you drop by the office anyway, just submit those nominations because we'd love to have them. But presenting our alumni awards tonight is going to be the Alumni Association Board President, which is Mark Watkins, class of 74.
Thank you, Brett. I came here to this college because of Coach Wagner. And I just love this institution, what it means to me. I met my wife here. It's kind of funny about my wife. I graduated in '76 from the College of the Ozarks. We met here. One of us had to quit school because it was kind of hard to keep the house with both of us going to school. So my wife quit. And then she went back later and graduated in 1987 from the University of the Ozarks. She's held it over my head ever since. Graduated from College of the Ozarks, she graduated from the University of the Ozarks. And we become, what I understand now, is a legacy family, because I've got a daughter who went to school here, Rebecca, and her husband here, so we hope to keep an eye on these grandkids here. Young Alumni Service Award. This was first awarded in 1996. It's given to someone who is 5 years out from graduation, under 35 years of age. At the time of the presentation, has been active in alumni activities, demonstrated loyalty to the university. The first recipient of the Young Alumni Service Award is Ian Wright. Ian has remained involved in Ozarks ever since graduation. Former baseball player at Ozarks, is on the Alumni Association Board of Directors, and is the alumni representative on the University Sports Hall of Fame Committee. Ian has spoken at several senior dinners, played in an alumni baseball game, has consistently been a yes man for the alumni office. Ian is a business development officer for Harvest Bank in Russellville, where he played the pivotal role in helping to create the new University of the Ozarks Athletic Mobile app. He is also a member of the River Valley United Way Board of Directors and a graduate of the 2017 Leadership Russellville Program. Ian, thank you for your service and commitment to Ozarks.
First off, I want to thank my parents, my family, for the love and the support that they've provided me. not only now, but when I was in college. I mean, the time that it took for everything that I was involved in, from student athlete advisory committee president and student foundation board, community advisory board, whatever it was. Before I even came here, I had no intention of just coming here. I was actually going to go to another university. All of one of my best friends, who actually was committed here after his junior year, I figured I wanted to go play baseball. I was going to follow my best friend. Came here, had no idea that I was going to follow him up to university. Kept me involved, graduated, still want to stay involved from time to time. I thought I was going to end up going back home, going to Dallas, going to Northwest Arkansas. Only trip to all over the rest of and like they said, I was able, through the work that I do at Harvest Bank, their culture of staying involved, staying volunteer, I felt like the University of Ozarks really played a huge role into my career. Being able to commit to the community, being able to give back, and I think Ozarks really prepared me for that. Playing a role on the River Valley United Way Board, helping out nonprofits and what they want to do in the community, those in need, leadership principal class. Everything that I do today, I feel strongly with the leadership that I have here at the university. Dr. Dunsworth, Dr. Neese when he was here, Coach Clark. And I do want to mention a funny story. I don't think anybody here would even know. I probably need to dig them up out by the baseball field before all the changes made. But baseball was part of my life and still is. But me and some of my buddies actually buried some of our baseball cleats out there after our last game. So before all the changes being made, I'm going to dig those out. But that just comes to show what the university meant to us. The time that we spent here, whether it was on the baseball field, around campus, giving tours to incoming freshmen. The University of Ozarks always plays a role in my work and in my family. Thank you.
Our next recipient of the Young Alumni Service Award is Lauren Ray, class of 2013. Lauren has remained involved with Ozarks ever since her graduation. As a student, she was heavily involved with Ozark Outdoors and the Planet Club. Since graduation, she has continued her support and work with Ozarks Outdoors. Lauren has also been a consistent supporter and advocate for the Ozarks, She works for the National Park Service as an upper district interpreter at Buffalo National River. Today, she is known by many as the Rapping Ranger. She produces educational musical videos about various issues in the national parks in order to promote preservation and resource protection. She was named the 2013 Student Conservationist of the Year by the Arkansas Wildlife Federation and the 2014 Environmental Educator of the Year by the Arkansas Environmental Association. Lauren Ray, thank you for your service and commitment to Ozark.
Thank you, everybody, very much, and what an honor to be back at my alma mater this evening. I'm going to tell a quick story. It's going to sound like a total tangent, but I promise it'll come back around. A couple months ago, I took a trip to Canada and Washington State, as a lot of you know who follow me on Facebook and things. So this trip, I was visiting a lot of the national parks in Canada and Washington. And this was while all of those major devastating wildfires were going on. So at the back of my mind, the whole time I was up there, I was like, my parents are probably a little bit worried about me back home. I need to check in with them. So I had this idea. I wanted to create this cardboard sign and write in Sharpie, Mom and Dad, I'm fine. And take a bunch of selfies at all these beautiful places that I was visiting and post them on Facebook as a way to check in with Mom and Dad and let them know that they didn't need to worry. I was doing okay. So admittedly, this was kind of a jab at the fact that they have a tendency to be a little bit protective. But you know what? They jabbed right back. Those of you who are friends with us on Facebook saw that they went on this wild spree one Sunday afternoon. They dressed up in different uniforms and costumes, and they stood in front of their smart TV at home with these different scenes from world-class travel destinations. So they went to the Eiffel Tower, they went whitewater rafting on the Colorado River, they went to the Grand Canyon, all sorts of things. So they made their own cardboard sign and said, "Lauren, we're fine too." So, you know, they jabbed right back. This kind of went viral among our friend circles on Facebook. It was really funny. So when I got back from my vacation, more often than not, people came up and said, instead of saying, "Lauren, how was your trip?" they said, "Lauren, your parents are hilarious." You hit the jackpot with your family, didn't you? And all of those comments I received from friends and family made me sit back and reflect on my life a little bit. And yes, I really did hit the jackpot in a lot of ways. I grew up with a phenomenal family. I got a wonderful education here at University of the Ozarks. And today I have a job that I really, really love with the National Park Service. So a minute ago I mentioned that my parents tend to worry about me quite a bit. I was a weird kid. I didn't really have a clear path to a successful and bright future back when I was a teenager. And so I knew my parents worried. Even though they didn't explicitly say it to me, I always knew that they were worried about me. But when I told them that I wanted to attend the University of the Ozarks for college, I really experienced a lot of their worry melt away. I could tell they were really excited when they found out that this was where I wanted to attend college. They knew that here I would form an extended family that would be my support system while I was away from home. They knew that I would have advisors and mentors like Dr. Van Scoy, Dr. Jeffries, Dr. Weiss, Dr. Hardman, Jamie Hedges, and so on, who would help me in that transition into adulthood. They knew that this institution was the perfect fit for me. So, to all those professors and mentors I just mentioned, I want to say thanks for, one, helping ease my parents' worries, but also for helping me become a better person just for having known you. Mom and Dad, thank you for worrying. It's better than the alternative. Thank you for helping me embrace my quirks and use them to my advantage. And to all the other worried parents out there with weird kids, don't worry. They're going to be just fine.
Given to one who achieves recognition in his or her chosen profession or occupation. Our first recipient of the Alumni Achievement Award is Ray Hobbs, class of 1977. Hobbs served as president and CEO of Hart Tackle Company, a native of Clarksville. He is also president of the Economics Arkansas Foundation. He previously served as president and CEO of Daisy Manufacturing Company and was a senior vice president for merchandising of Walmart Stores Incorporated. He worked for Walmart for 24 years. By the way, Ray and I worked here in Clarksville one time together. I chose not to stay with Walmart. He chose to stay. Hobbs also served as merchandising consultant for firms like Canada's Candle Company in Fayetteville and Bass Pro Shop in Springfield, Missouri. He was interim CEO for Bass Pro Shop for 14 months before being recruited by Daisy. We thank you for being an ambassador and representative of Ozarks, putting on display what is possible with an Ozarks education. Great honor.
I'd like to have some of that hair back, particularly the back. My business career started here, and you mentioned that, Mark. We did work at Walmart together. And what was really neat about that is I changed my major my junior year here, and I'll tell you a little more about that in a second. But changed it to business and went to work at Walmart. And it, thanks to one of my major achievements is my wife of 40 years, Deborah, who graduated from here as well. And thanks to her and Dr. James Brett, the business school here at Martin Luther, they really helped me get focused. If you look at my, which I'm not suggesting you do, look at my transcript, pre-dev versus post-dev, it's a lot different. But Dr. Brett really worked with me closely because, Mark, as you know, back then at Walmart, you could work about 55 hours a week, and they really didn't pay you overtime. You just got to work a lot, and we did that. But the career, and when we started at Walmart, this is store 66 out here. When I started there, we had less than 100 stores. And just so you'll know, again, I've lost count, but Walmart today is a $550 billion company. And the things that I learned here through working with Dr. Pratt at the business school and also at Walmart are prices. And I've been very blessed to be able to work at a lot of these great companies. And there's not a day goes by that I don't use the things that I learned in that business school and also at Walmart that I use today and all the things that I have to work with. Super opportunities. Deb and I own a company now, and one of my goals when I was here was to someday run a company, own and run a company, and I've been able to do that because of the wonderful background here. Little known thought, and I'll make this brief. I also had a sports career here at C of O, and not too many people know about it. There's probably a good reason for that. But we were telling Wagner stories. We were talking about it the other day. We were telling Jerry Wagner stories. And I ran cross country too, a little bit. And so Coach Wagner asked me in spring, he said, I thought you ran track at Clarksville. I said, I did. I ran sprints and relays and, did pretty good. He said, well, you need to come out for track. Okay. So I did. First track meet was in Monticello, University of Arkansas, Monticello. I'd never seen a 10-lane track. That's a lot of lanes. And I set my blocks. He entered me into several events. The first one was 220. And I'd done pretty well in high school with that. So got ready to go, and I noticed that most of the people on the left and the right were pretty fast. And starter gun went off, and I ran. And unfortunately, most of them were in the infield putting their sweats on, and I was still running. And Coach Wagner came up to me, Don, and put his arm around me and trying to keep from laughing really hard and said, Ray, you don't have to run anymore today. So I had a sports career, but it didn't last very long. But I do appreciate the opportunity here and the background for the university. And thank you for the support. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Our next recipient of the Alumni Achievement Award is Peter Van Dyke, class of 1987. Van Dyke was a senior litigation counselor for the CNA Insurance, where he manages and resolves many of the company's most significant commercial insurance claims. A graduate of Notre Dame Law School, Van Dyke worked in private firms in Florida and Indiana before joining CNA in 2004 to help the company manage its highest exposure litigation on a national level. He was elected to a 3-year term on the university's Board of Trustees in January of 2017. We thank you for being an ambassador and representative of Ozarks, putting on display, again, what's possible for Ozarks education.
Thank you, Mark. I wasn't quite sure what my role was until I looked at the program tonight, and I see I'm a warm-up act for the quals that's coming right after me. So, I'm just glad I don't have to follow them. That would be even worse. I'm tremendously, I prepared some notes, now I can't read them, but I am tremendously humbled and honored by this award. And I want to thank, before I go too far, I want to thank Brett Wood, the Alumni Association, all the alumni, and Rich, and anyone else who had any role in this honor. And when Brett told me last April that I was going to receive this honor, you could have knocked me over with a feather. And I've asked him, and Brett can attest to this, I probably asked him 10 times, why am I getting this award? Now Ray, I can see, and Ray, I wish I had that hair back too, kind of, I don't know. But, you know, I pestered him and he finally said, you know, because you've been successful. And so I thought about that over the summer, and I still don't thoroughly accept that premise, but I started thinking about what I would say tonight, and to the extent that I've been successful, I think of the obvious things that we all think of, which are my wife, my family, my faith, and right there after those three is my Ozarks education. And I couldn't be where I am today or have done what I've done without that education. And so I was trying to think of what to say tonight, and I don't know if your family is like mine, but we have a family group text, and we share different articles with each other. My wife sent me one about 2 weeks ago that really resonated with me. And it resonated with me because it was talking about a liberal arts education and what a liberal arts education means in this world of ours. And I'm very proud that I received a liberal arts education here at C of O, then U of O. I was in the first class to graduate. It must have been with Mark's wife, who I'm trying to remember. And this article was very moving to me, and it was entitled "The Dying Art of Disagreement." And it was written by a gentleman named Brett Stevens, who's a journalist of some note. And he was being given an award in Australia by a group of journalists for his journalistic achievements. And he was speaking on the state of higher education in the United States of America. And Brett Stevens studied at the University of Chicago under Dr. Alan Bloom, who some of you educators will know is a fairly famous educator at the University of Chicago, who wrote a book back in 1987 that was called The Closing Mind of America. And what Dr. Bloom talked about and what Stevens describes is what a liberal arts education means. And Bloom's thesis was education should be about listening and understanding, to question and disagree, to treat no proposition as sacred and no objection as impious, to be willing to entertain unpopular ideas and cultivate the habits of an open mind. And then Bloom went on to say that's what used to be called a liberal arts education. And Stevens goes on to talk about this and talk about the times that we live in and talk about how we've lost the ability to listen to each other, to actually hear each other, understand each other, and contemplate viewpoints that are different than our own. And I thought about my education, and I thought about my professors here, and that's exactly what I learned to do here at the University of Ozarks. I learned to deal with people who were different than myself, held different views than I did, to understand them, listen to them, think about what they were saying, and hold the thought in my mind that just maybe they might persuade me to think differently about an issue than I had already convinced myself that I felt about it. And that's what the value of a University of the Ozarks education, because no matter what we do in our daily lives, we interact with people. And we interact with people that don't always think like we do and don't always agree with us. But we have to work with them, and we have to find a way to come together and do whatever the project is that we're doing or what we're working on. So I want to say thank you to this university for what it gave me, because it gave me everything. And there's a few people in particular that I want to thank. Gilbert Parks and Rodney and other teammates, Reggie and others who are here, know what an influential person he was in my life. He found me in American government class in 1983, an aimless, misguided 19-year-old, and he taught me and mentored me into what it meant to have an intellectual life, and ultimately what it meant to have a career in the law. And when I came here, I never would have dreamed that that's what I would have been doing. And so I will forever be indebted to him. Steve Schulte, some of you may remember him. He wasn't here that long. He was my history professor. Challenged me to become more than a student, to become a leader and to take on leadership roles. And then a person that all of you will remember, which is Dr. Aaron, Dr. Fritz Aaron, and his wife, Juanita. Created an environment on this campus that was second to none. It really put the university in a special place and on a special trajectory that we're seeing played out even now. And those two people are very special to me. So to close, I just want to say how honored I am to receive this award and how honored I am to have received the University of the Ozarks education. Thank you.
Well said. The Alumni Merit Award, first awarded in 1940, given for meritorious work done for the university. The recipients of the Alumni Merit Awards are Lonnie and Levada Qualls. And next to Coach Wagner, greatest influence on me in the athletic department, and Peter mentioned Dr. Parks. He challenged me also. I've known the Qualls, of course, when I started here. I stayed here in this community. My wife and I decided to make our home here. I've been around them at Clarksville High School athletic events. I have my son and their grandson played on the same football team together. I've had some funny conversations with Mrs. Qualls at football games. And they've been a staple in my life. The Qualls have been associated with Ozarks for more than 65 years. First serving on campus as students in the early 1950s. After a successful football coaching stint at Clarksville High School, Lonnie went on to coach numerous sports at his alma mater, including football, baseball, soccer, cross country, and tennis from 1962 until retirement in 1995. The baseball field at Ozarks was named his honor during the ceremony in 2005. Levada served as health and physical education instructor at Ozarks for more than 35 years. By the way, the only class my wife and I had together was her health class. They celebrated their 62nd wedding anniversary in August. They have both stayed involved with the university since their retirement. We thank you for being ambassadors and representatives of Ozarks. Your pride for our alma mater is evident in all you say and do. Ronnie and Levada Qualls.
I have to read because I'm crying right now. We were given 2 to 3 minutes, so I started by saying, how do you sum up 62 years of memories in 2 to 3 minutes? I first stepped on this campus in 1952 when I was 17 years old as a college freshman. It was a small campus filled with large personalities. It's really great to share this occasion with George Loss and Betty and Mount Perrin and Ruslan, who were all students that year too. After we graduated and married in 1955, in a brief public school experience, Lonnie was asked to come back to coach at Ozarks. As fate would have it, the women's physical education teacher resigned late in the summer, and I was about the only choice, and I was thrilled to be asked to come back and teach too. Coach Frank Ingram was our mentor and source of encouragement, along with J.D. Patterson and Dr. Don Davis. Jerry Wagner came along a year later, and through the years, we had a new basketball coach every 3 to 5 years. It was a family atmosphere with the accompanying dynamics of growing together. It has been the hub of our activities for all of our 62 years of marriage and the raising of our 3 children, Aaron, Hilton, Kathy Ramsey, and Brian Walls. They are all graduates of Ozarks and all teach in Johnson County Public Schools. We've literally watched all the buildings go up or be renovated. It is very different physically from the school of the 50s, but the spiritual foundations are still the same. The love of God still permeates the atmosphere of all activities. The chapel services set the tone for Christian growth and understanding. We were blessed to play a role in the development of so many diversified students through the years, as you can see by the examples of the winners of the awards and the inductees to the Sports Hall of Fame. Many have gone on to accomplish great things and receive national and international recognition. We did not begin to name all the outstanding alumni that we have, that we call ours. If the goal of education is to produce good and caring citizens, I would say that Ozarks has and will continue to lead the way. We've been blessed with many professors, administrators, coaches who were dedicated to serving young people. It would be impossible to name them all, but a few that especially impacted our lives were Frank Coon, Fritz Aaron, Ross Smith, Dr. Bone, Dr. Beach, Billy Smith, Billy King, Bill Borland, Jim Roberts, and of course Dr. Davis and Frank Ingram. We retired in the mid-90s, but never quit supporting the school and athletic teams. Our grandson Caleb played baseball in 2003-2006. Not long after that, our son-in-law Carl Ramsey, also an Ozarks graduate, took on the challenge of coaching the women's basketball team, with the grandson Keaton as a volunteer assistant. As many of you know, Lonnie still coaches and referees from the stands. Whether they're called Mountaineers or Eagles, we'll always cheer them on. I have another little paragraph in here about serving on the Alumni Board, which has been a good experience for me through the years. As a faculty, while I was still on the faculty, I was faculty representative on the Alumni Board. And then I stayed, but probably too long, on the Alumni Board. But I enjoyed meeting the young alumni and interacting with them. I wanted to point out some of the older alumni, people that served on the Alumni Board. Ada Mills, Harold Whitson, Ruth Farmer, and the Rader sisters. Some of you will know who they were, but they were loyal alumni, and I could hardly come to alumni banquet without thinking of them. I know that there are probably many more deserving than we are, but there are none who love this institution anymore. Thank you so much for this wonderful award, and thank you all for being here. And congratulations
correct one thing, it's July the 24th instead of August, or I wouldn't get to go home tonight if you Some people make it on their merit, some on longevity, and I guess mine is longevity because I've pretty much been the chauffeur for many years and bringing her to all the things that she's been involved with up here. And one chauffeuring case was Miss Helen Walton flew into the airport out here, and I was afraid our own car wasn't going to start when I needed to wait, but it did. I would like to thank, but congratulate all of them in the Hall of Fame as far as sports. I'd hate to try to make it against these people with the resumes they had tonight, and I'd like to congratulate them and those alumni awards as well. I'm going to take it a little different approach here. I'm going to introduce what family or people I have here. If they'll all stand up, and if you'll just wait till they get up, and then you can give them any applause you want to. Karen and her husband, Pat Hilton, Kathy, and Ryan, and Cody. The rest of his family couldn't be here. Then I have granddaughters here, Kelsey, Keaton. Kelsey has a good friend, boyfriend here, Alan. Keaton's girlfriend couldn't come tonight. Then we'll go back to Karen's three boys. She married into a Catholic family, and after three, she's so bad. I don't care what the Pope says. We're not having any more. We moved in the house that they lived in, and half of the bark was gone, on all of the trees up there was gone. I have my niece here from Tulsa, Tina Chamberlain, and Josh and Jenny, and they have 2 children. So we have 7 grandchildren, 5 great-grandchildren. I'd encourage you all to come back each year or two, or you won't recognize it, the way things are changing here. It's sort of amazing how much has been done. I make a scenic trip around the campus every day or two, and things are really hopping here. I'd like to congratulate Dr. Dunsworth, his staff, his workers, the faculty, the board members. There have been an awful lot of good changes. Some you may not agree with. Some you wonder about. He filled up the swimming pool for sand. He could have a wrestling place. And then right after that, he started a swim team. It all seems to be working out. You look at the statistics and stuff, we're up to the highest enrollment we've had when most of the schools in Arkansas are losing students. So that's one thing, and then there's, as I say, all these new buildings and other things going up. So I wish you'd give them all a big hand for what they're doing, and I hope to see you all here next year.
Legacy Award, first awarded in 2002. given to an alumnus who has given unselfishly of his or her resources to support the University of Ozarks and its mission during his or her lifetime. I've been fortunate to be able to serve on the board the past 5 years, past 3 years as president. And Mrs. Qualls mentioned she would like to see she'd like to be around some of the younger members. I hope she was talking about me. But I've been blessed by being around some of the older members. And two of them are who's receiving the award tonight. The recipients of the Legacy Award for this year are Reverend Dr. Ralph and Betty Aaron. And to serve with Dr. Aaron and Betty for the first 2 years I was here as the alumni board. So the Aarons have been consistent supporters and ambassadors for Ozarks for over 65 years. Ever since their first arrival on campus in the late 40s, both of them have served multiple terms on the Alumni Association Board of Directors and can constantly be seen at Ozarks events on and off campus. They are now retired and living in Plano, Texas. A graduate of Southwest Baptist Theological Seminary, Ralph served as Baptist minister for 34 years in churches in Wyoming, South Dakota, Maryland, Arkansas, and Texas. He also taught at Houston Baptist University before retiring in 2000. Betty served as a media specialist for 18 years for several schools before retiring in 1991. The Aarons, who will celebrate their 64th wedding anniversary on December 19th. Thank you for being lifetime ambassadors and supporters of the University of Ozarks.
She threatened me if I asked her to say anything. Betty and I are very grateful for the honor that the Alumni Board has offered us or given to us this year. It came quite unexpectedly, but a very humbling experience, and we're grateful for that. We have 2 children. We were living in McKinney, Texas, and our daughter lived in Plano, and she thought we were too far away. It was a 20-minute drive. And so they found a house that we ought to move to a mile from her house. That's where we live now because that's what she said we would do. Our son lives just outside Philadelphia. When he was just a kid, 4 or 5 years old, we used to spend vacation time with Mom and Pop here. Betty grew up out here in Tagerville. She's a local girl. I grew up over at Boonville. Daryl is a preacher's son. He is a talker. I thought, tonight to limit a preacher to 3 minutes, you've got to be kidding. But Daryl was leaving with his granddad one night, or they'd gone to bed, and Daryl just was talking, and finally Pop said, Daryl, I've got to go to work in the morning, but you need to be quiet. He said, Pop, you go right on to sleep. I've just got a few more things I need to say. Well done, son. We have with us tonight Betty's sister, Mrs. Chris Gallops, and her daughter, our niece, Leanne Gallops, drove all the way from Silver Spring, Florida, just to be with us here tonight. Good friends, Bill Crowder, long-time friend, classmate in George Loss. We were excited when we knew we were going to see you again. I think we haven't seen you since we left the campus, since you left the campus, baby. And the others, Lonnie and Nevada, have been lifelong friends. We're so grateful for that. As Mark indicated, we landed on the campus here in the fall of 1949. I came with my older brother, twin brother, and sister, the 4 of us. And Betty was here, and campus is about the size it is now. We noticed that there are a number of military buildings on the campus that were in bad need of repair, but they served a purpose for us. I'm grateful for them. The faculty, very, very fine people who gave everything they have, were very committed and dedicated to the proposition that student education was the priority on this campus. They spent much time with students individually and as a group. We're grateful for those people. We are so grateful for the education that we received here and for the opportunities that you provided for us. Little did I know when I left here that I would become a minister of the gospel. I'm grateful for those experiences. In her senior year, Betty was elected to be or chosen to be the football queen, and so she and I became very, very good friends after that. In December of 1953, we were married in the chapel on the campus. Following Fritz and Juanita, Robert and Sue, and Marie and Herb, all four having been married there in the chapel, you can see the attachment we have to this campus. Fritz and Robert are deceased and miss them terribly, but the association with them has been a real inspiration to me through the years. Betty and I are grateful, as I said, for this award, and our prayer has been, and it is, and continues to be, that the students who come to this campus will receive the kind of an education that will prepare them well, socially and educationally and spiritually, for the life that's ahead of them when they leave this campus. And we hope that they will always be proud to be an alumnus of the University of the Ozarks, as we are. Thank you very much.
Real quickly, can our alumni award winners please stand again and be recognized? Well, I'm normally not one to write down exactly what I want to say. I'm much more comfortable with the extemporaneous type of speaking. But I felt like tonight was an opportunity, and so I didn't want to miss it, and so I have written myself down a little bit of what I want to say. But before I do that, I'm going to cover the details, because otherwise I'm going to forget about them. On your tables, there's a couple of schedules of the events that are going on this weekend. There's several opportunities to still stay involved over the course of the weekend. There's alumni sports for pretty much every sport going on. We have soccer games tomorrow that you can come and support our students. There's a breakfast with the president tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock to where you can come just hear kind of the state of the university, an update on what we're doing. And just several opportunities over the course of the weekend to stay plugged in. So we hope that you'll consider coming to some of those events. Also, just to touch back on what Jimmy said, we will do some photos afterwards, so award winners and their families, please stick around for a few minutes so we can take some photos, and then Jimmy and Josh will take our Hall of Fame inductees over to the gym for those photos as well. One of the privileges of being the alumni director is the stories that you hear tonight is a daily occurrence for me. I get to travel around and hear these on a regular basis. And it's always so interesting. I mean, there's people who were here decades before I was, and their mentor who took them under their wing is the same person who took me under their wing. The stories of Lonnie and Levada, Coach Wagner. When I played baseball here, I don't remember ever playing a game without seeing Lonnie and Levada and Coach Wagner sitting along the field. And I say that to say, you know, I think tonight is one of the most important things that we can do as an institution. And I say that because, you know, It's recognizing our alumni and the things that they have done as students and since they graduated from Ozarks. President Dunsworth spends a lot of time talking to our students about an 80-year relationship. He tells prospective students that if that's not what they're looking for, we might not be the institution for you. And he says it again and again and again, all the way up until senior dinner. Well, if we're serious about that 80-year relationship, then we as an institution need to recognize it, and we need to recognize those who took that commitment seriously. When you look across the room, it's full of people who took that commitment seriously. Tonight's just a small piece of doing that. We recognized Hall of Famers for things that they did on campus, as well as things they did after campus. We recognized young alumni for staying engaged, as well as things, and recognize individuals who have been engaged for over 65 years. So thank you, all of you, family, alumni, friends. We truly appreciate it. We appreciate your commitment to the institution and for taking that 80-year relationship seriously. Thank you.
Yeah, pretty close. You ready? All right, everybody gather around. We're going to unveil the plaques. Just pull the tax out. So we're going to unveil the plaques. So let Steve go first. We did them alphabetically. Mongo! Yeah, my fault. Yeah, no, right by it, so they get your picture. You got what you needed? Yep. Okay. Awesome, man. Take that out of your way. Just jump it there. All right, next. Alphabetically. Okay, yeah, there you go. Donald. It's hard to get out. It's hard. Yeah, my bad. Congratulations. Stay there. All of you, all four inductees, we want a picture with all of you right here in front of the board.
Sophomore year.
I just want to say sophomore here.
You may swap it up. Oh, sorry.
Just look right there at him. All right, now look right here.
Smile there.
I've got one more thing left to do.
You have a tarantula on the camera.
It's work.
Yes, it's